Absolutely. I'm a big fan of the city being hands-on and providing employment, providing good quality careers for people, and the more the better. And there's a lot of people say things about how the private sector is so much more efficient than public sector, and government employees are lazy, or whatever the comments are. I think that's a lot of unsubstantiated hype, and that people that work for the city or for whatever government, people are equals. Everybody's just like everybody else on a lot of key foundational issues, and there's no reason why the city can't be a strong employer that takes good care of their people, of their employees. And it's like a family. I was part of it at the transit department. I made a lot of really good friends that I still spend a lot of time with. But just that it can go for, and I see things sort of going in the other direction where they kind of contract out more work, and there's kind of things shifting away from the city, doing it themselves, like they're people doing the work. And that's kind of unfortunate. The difference is, the private sector, all the people involved are good people, hardworking, both sides. However, when it's a company, a private company, then they have a priority of making a profit, and this sort of endless growth thing that everyone seeks after. When it's the government, when it's the city itself, then there's also, or there's supposed to be, and I want to grow this, there's supposed to be a consciousness of taking care of the people and having more of a human element than just the pursuit of profits. The private-public partnership, tongue twister. I've looked into that a little bit. From what I understand, that's how shall I put it? It's basically just kind of a project that's partly funded by private companies, and the city or whatever government is supposedly has some kind of influence and control over what's going on, and some of their own investment. But to me, it's back to my last answer to the last question. There's like the private company, respect to all people involved again, but it's seeking gain and growth by means of profit, and it kind of takes away that sort of human element of, okay, this is our city, this is our community. We want to make sure that all the angles, like the inclusion and the sustainability and just the smiling at your neighbor, like there's a lot of things that the city can impose some force to all those angles, and the private, and I'm all for people doing business and working hard at that, but if the city has some strong hands in there saying, no, look, we have to take care of this and this and this, then that's when we can really succeed in all kinds of different ways. And the P3 model, that, as I understand it seems to have a little bit more risk and more sort of negative than any overall positive for me. Like, yeah, we have to partner governments with companies, and we has to be a team effort, but I think it also is a sort of a symptom of a failure of the city to take and sort of harvest the excess and the taxes from bigger companies, and then do the work themselves and disperse the public services as they should be, with full control, being completely accountable to all of the people. And that accountability, I think, gets weakened when the private companies are involved. So it's a deep subject, yeah, it has to be talked about, but short answer is, to me, it's a little bit scary, and I think the government has to represent the people and keep a strong hand on those things. That is very important. That's part of how people get around. It's I'm in favor of putting more into that. Yes. Myself, another personal tidbit is on my street in the winter I'll go shovel my walk, and if I have nothing better to do, I'll shovel the neighbor's walk, and sometimes I go down the street and around the block and do the whole block, and I'm fine with that. I can do that. I'm happy to do that. I want no, rewards for that. I think that sort of thing, and they have the campaign with the shovel your walk sort of thing, and the signs out, and it's a promotional thing, which is good. We all have to get out there and do what we're able to do. It comes to be a severe problem when you're dealing with people that are elderly and have more severe mobility issues, and people are going to slip on the ice, or if someone's getting around in a wheelchair and there's a big mound of snow or if the grader, God forbid, happens to push the snow from the street onto the sidewalk and there's no way to get through, that's a big failure. That can't happen. We have to take care of those people that are more vulnerable, that have all kinds of challenges that able-bodied people like us, we don't ever really think about that a whole lot because it's not our problem. I think we have to think of everyone's problems as our problems as we, get into this election and, talk like we're representing people. That's what our job is. I do support it. It's a really good idea. It's more efficient to have a big truck come around and get everybody's than for everyone to drive their own car to the recycling place. It's tricky to say, what the price should be, if people should pay for that. My initial gut instinct is that should be a service that the city provides. If there's revenue from the recycled materials, maybe that can work out somehow. There's a lot of homework to get into that, but it's important that we reduce the waste that we create. If you look around the world, our society is, has a really terrible record for making big piles of garbage, and that's something that we need to attack from a lot of angles. Like, we only get one planet, and there's a lot of work to do to, go down that road to researching how to preserve and the 3 R's and so on. But yeah, there's lots to do about that. Yes, I think more transparency is always good. I think people have the right to know. That's an important issue. There's, again, you can't do too much to keep people connected and involved in what's going on. And if people know when they're applying that, now you're in the public domain that way, and if that's laid out at the outset, then that should be a very fair and apt way to do that. I think so. I think that you can't have too much democracy. Like maybe the list gets long on the ballot when you have your elections, or if that's its own separate thing, and that has its own kind of cost. But it's always worth it to let people have input and to come out and be part of the decision that gets made. It's very important. Yeah, you can't complain about too much democracy. Too much involvement of every single person in the city.